They use this phrase now like it's supposed to end the conversation, that we're not a democracy, we're a constitutional republic. And it drives me out of my mind, as if those words magically justify stripping voting rights, overriding the will of the people, or consolidating power into the hands of a few unelected elites. As if parroting that phrase like a toddler who just learned the word actually makes the death of democratic values more palatable. Let me be clear. The claim that the United States isn't a democracy is a rhetorical trap. It's one carefully designed to make Americans more comfortable with autocracy, and it's not new. The American system was born of contradiction and compromise. The framers understood something then that many pundits and populists have forgotten now, that pure democracy and pure republic are both flawed in isolation. James Madison said it plainly in Federal 10. He warned of factionalism, of mob rule, of the dangers when a common impulse of passion or of interest adverse to the rights of the other citizens takes hold of the majority. But his solution wasn't to eliminate democratic input, it was to refine it, to slow it down, filter it through representation, and ensure that the passions of the moment didn't steamroll the liberties of the minority. But don't mistake that for elitism. Madison wasn't saying that people shouldn't rule. He was saying they shouldn't be exploited or inflamed by opportunists. In other words, the framers didn't reject democracy, they tried to make it sustainable. The entire structure of the Constitution, bicameral legislature, staggered terms, checks and balances, was built to prevent both aristocratic tyranny and direct democracy from collapsing the system under their own weight. They weren't designing a throne, they were designing a balance beam, and they succeeded for a while. What we got, what they argued, drank, fought, and bled over, was not some sterile model of governance from Plato's Republic or Aristotle's Politics. Those systems always succumb to corruption and hierarchy. And it wasn't the pure democracy of every man with a pitchfork voting on every bill in the town square. That burns out too fast, and it's too easily whipped into madness. So what we got was something new. What we got was the American experiment, the Democratic Republic, a blend, a system where power ultimately resides with the people, but is administered through layers of accountability, representation, and law. That blend is not a bug, it's the whole damn point. So when someone smugly declares we're not a democracy, they are either ignorant or they are parroting some carefully placed lie. And that lie has found new life in the mouths of Peter Thiel, Curtis Yarvin, and Stephen Miller, the tech authoritarian glee club who believe democracy is a failed idea and that your voice is a threat to their order. And Yarvin doesn't even hide it. He argues for monarchy of capital, a return to rule by a CEO king who cannot be challenged by the unwashed masses. Miller cloaks his in nationalism, fear, and culture wars, whispering that democracy is chaos and that only strong men can restore order. Thiel, with his billions and billions of dollars, funds it all and says the word freedom with the same tone a butcher uses before a slaughter. These men are not patriots. They are anti-democratic fundamentalists, hell-bent on turning this country into a cold cathedral where capital is God and citizens are serfs. And this rhetorical game they play, this semantic sleight of hand where constitutional republic replaces democracy, is just their way of softening the fall. So let's address the phrase itself, constitutional republic. It sounds official and authoritative, but it's functionally redundant. A republic is by definition a system of government where the people hold power and elect representatives, a representative democracy. The constitutional part is just a legal framework. Every republic in the modern world has some kind of constitution, written or unwritten. You don't get bonus points for stating the obvious. Saying constitutional republic as if it excludes democracy is like saying a water-based liquid. It's just puffed up nonsense meant to sound informed, but obscures the truth. It's a word game played by those who hope you won't ask where the power really lies. And let's also not pretend that the idea of the republic is sacred in and of itself. The term comes from the Latin phrase res publica, the public thing. But that public was always limited. In Plato's Republic, the model society was based on rigid class stratification. Philosopher kings ruled, warriors enforced, laborers served. There was no freedom of speech, no dissent, just an imagined utopia where wisdom was concentrated in the hands of an elite few. And Aristotle's Politics offered a little more nuance. He categorized government types by who ruled and in whose interest. A kingship is one for the good of all. Tyranny is one for self-interest. Aristocracy is a few for the good of all. Oligarchy is few for their own good, polity, many for the good of all, and democracy, many for themselves. But even he admitted that republics, systems ruled by a few, by elected elites, could quickly descend into oligarchy, where the powerful legislate in their own favor and the public become just decoration. The danger of the republic, then, is not the mechanism of representation. It's the distance it creates between the rulers and the ruled. And unchecked, that distance becomes fertile ground for corruption. The elites pass laws for their own protection. The people become disillusioned, and democracy dies not with a coup, but with a shrug. That is the risk when republic becomes an idol and democracy becomes a dirty word. And the Anti-Federalists saw it coming. Patrick Henry warned that a government too far removed from the people would become imperial in nature. He was afraid that the new government would grow so big and so centralized that individual voices would disappear in the roar of power. He wasn't against democracy. He was against empire. In fact, nearly all framers agree on one thing: the government must be of, by, and for the people. So whether you call it democracy, a republic, or even some sacred covenant of self-rule, it is built on participation. It is built on dissent. It is built on you. And that is exactly what terrifies the Teals, Yarvins, and Millers of the world. Because the more you believe your voice matters, the less power they have. The more you demand transparency, accountability, and justice, the less control they have. So they play these word games. They plant seeds of doubt about whether your vote counts, whether democracy was ever real, whether you're just a cog in someone else's machine. They muddy the water until apathy looks like wisdom and disengagement feels like maturity. Don't be fooled by that. When they say we're a republic, not a democracy, what they're really saying is sit down, shut up, and let the rich decide. And we don't have to accept that. We are heirs to a revolution that believed people could govern themselves, that power could be shared, that freedom could mean more than flags and firearms, that it could mean dignity, opportunity, and voice. So yes, we are a republic. Yes, we are a democracy. We are both by design and by necessity. And the moment we stop saying the word democracy, the moment we see that linguistic ground, we hand them the license to gut the damn thing from the inside out. So say it with your whole chest. We are a democracy, and then fight like hell to keep it that way. Defiance till death.